I don't know. I'm hyping. I'm ready to go.
Why don't you go ahead and do the intro, bro? You already hyped.
I'm hyped right now. I can do it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the RIOT presents. Sports talk. Hey, I'm Cheese. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I believe that we can win. Yeah. On top.
J-Hawk.
Hey, we Casey chopping.
All day long.
Yo, what up? I'm Cheese. Welcome to Sports Talk. This is my homie Dre.
What's going on, y'all?
Been a long time coming.
Too
This
long.
has been a plan for a minute, maybe a whole year.
A whole year, man.
And the day's finally here for the first time. So let's go ahead and get into it. Everybody knows I'm not the biggest Chiefs fan in the world.
At all.
And I've been called a hater. My team's the Tennessee Titans for reasons I don't have time to explain today, but one day I will explain. But right now, we're going to let the most passionate Chiefs fan I know, my homie Dre, air his frustrations from Saturday's game. Go ahead, Dre. Let the people know how you feel.
Man, you know, first of all, as a longtime Chiefs fan, the most frustrating part about the whole thing is that we going into this is our 8th playoff loss. 8th. Now, I wasn't around to see most of them. I don't even remember most of them, but this one really hurts. You up 28 points on the road against an Indianapolis team that if you take away Andrew Luck, I think Chiefs are better than.
Yeah, easily.
You know what I'm saying? So when you look at, we blew a 28-point lead. Now, you can blame that on a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know 11 people you can't blame it on. That's the offense.
Yeah,
they did their job.
They did their job.
Right now, it's Bob Sutton and the defense, man. Our defense is garbage at this point.
Emmett Thomas is I think is his name, the DB's coach.
Emmett Thomas.
He I don't know what he was doing.
He's 87 years old. He don't need to be on the sideline teaching no DBs how to play.
He played back with Jesus and Moses in there.
Exactly, and that's part of the issue. Too much name recognition on the sideline. Yep. Yeah, was Emmett Thomas a good defensive back? Yeah,
back in 1960.
You know, right. You know what I'm saying? And
2013.
was he a good defensive back coach a couple years ago? Yeah, but he's getting older now.
And the athlete is different now.
The athlete's different now. The game is different now. Quarterbacks are passing the ball more than they've ever passed the ball before, and your DBs have to step up.
Right.
More than they ever had before, and I think that's part of the issue. He can't handle that.
And I get into it with Chiefs fans a lot on Facebook. Y'all know that.
Yes, we do.
The thing is the injuries. Where are you at with the injuries situation?
Injuries, plain and simple. Injuries happen every single game. Jamal Charles got hurt, and they still went out and scored 31 points in the first half.
Without him.
Without him.
So
without him.
There's no excuse.
There's no and you know me, I'm a Chiefs fan, but I don't make excuses like some people think I do.
Yeah.
You can't take out your best player in Jamal Charles. You still score 31 points in the first half and you lose that game.
It's unacceptable. You can't do it.
Can't do it.
And I'm gonna go and put it on, not all on Andy Reid, but most of it. You got a quarterback that we all know is a game manager. Everyone knows that.
Well,
but he played a little better than the game manager for most of the year.
Yeah.
I'll give him that because I was big against 2 second-round draft picks for Alex Smith. I was like, no, that's going to work out terribly. And it actually hasn't. So I'll give him credit for that.
Right.
But throwing 46 times in a game, that's not Alex Smith's strength. You know, he doesn't win games when he throws that many times.
It's not his strength, though, but that won us the game Saturday. I know we lost. You have to listen to what I'm saying. Him throwing that many times won us the game Saturday. Had the defense stepped up,
and
that would have won us the game.
It also attributed to losing the game. Not that he made a mistake or anything, but just the sheer amount of pass attempts in the second half. He threw another 23 passes in the second half and only 10 rushes. So that's stopping the clock. That's giving them more time.
That's stopping the clock, but you got to look at it like this, too. Now Davis went down at the beginning of the fourth quarter. That put Cyrus Gray back there. I don't even know who Cyrus Gray is. I'm a Chiefs fan.
But what about McCluster? They said that he was supposed to be this big weapon. They had all this planned for him. And then they could have put him back there. He was a former running back in college.
And you're right. But then you had Donnie Avery who went out. Jamal Charles went out. Niles Davis went out. So you talking your offensive weapons. You only have Bo, which he played a great game.
For the first time in his career,
He played a great game.
Not career, but the last couple weeks, he finally played like a true receiver.
Right. So you had Bo on the field. You had McCluster on the field.
And then Cyrus Gray. He missed Cyrus Gray wide open. He has to understand that.
He overthrew Cyrus Gray.
That's not Jamal Charles.
But Cyrus Gray's not as fast as Jamal Charles. He was planning that route for Jamal Charles. That's a Jamal Charles route.
And the clock management. Oh my goodness gracious.
That's the one thing I don't understand.
As a coach,
is the clock management.
You 2-minute warning is a timeout. You don't come back on the field and call another timeout.
Right.
So now you can't stop the clock when the coach get the ball back.
But that was Andy Reid's. That was the big knock on Andy Reid when he came out of Philadelphia, was that he's not a game manager.
And he refuses to run the ball.
He refuses. You can't tell me Jamal Charles, in my opinion, once again, to come from a Chiefs fan, I think Jamal Charles is the first or second best running back in the NFL.
I got him at 3, but that's a debate for another day.
Because you're a Titans fan, you got Chris Johnson.
No, Chris Johnson's not even in my top 10.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear you say
that.
Hey,
real quick, I got Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, then Jamal, Shady McCoy. In my top 4. Okay. It's somewhere in that order.
Right. That's a debate for another day, but we're good. But your best player gets hurt, but that did not stop Andy Reid from doing what he did. Because when you put Niles Davis in there, they still ran the ball.
Still ran it well.
And he ran the ball well. He ran the ball well. But in the fourth quarter, there's things Andy Reid does that I don't understand.
The reason he was ran out of Philly because his clock management and refused to run the ball in the
fourth quarter. He refuses
to
run the ball in the fourth quarter. Which, if you look at any other coach in the NFL, when do they run the ball?
In the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter.
No matter, and some of them don't even have great running backs, and they still run it.
Exactly. Exactly. And so
this was a frustrating loss for me as just a football lover.
Right.
Not even as a Chiefs fan. And I felt like the game was over. 38-10. I was like, okay, that's it. That's done and over with.
The game was over, and I posted on Facebook at halftime. I told Chiefs fans, don't get too excited.
Yeah.
You probably seen it. I was like, Andrew Luck is the comeback kid.
Yeah, he is.
I'm nervous for the second half. I put that, and then what happens? He comes back, and they win the game by 1 point. So those are the things I'm talking about.
So Andy Reid's clock, man, has to get better. And Bob Sutton's got to make adjustments because the criticism of him from all the experts this week were the Chiefs don't make adjustments to what you're doing.
Bob Sutton is on record for saying this, and I posted this on Facebook too. He's on record for saying he does not like to make in-game adjustments because they have not practiced it during the week.
Which is a tragedy.
I think it's a tragedy, especially when you have Dante Robinson on the field. Yeah, you've got Kendrick Lewis on the field.
You need to make adjustments.
You have to make adjustments. Because when Brandon Flowers got hurt, at the end of that game, if Brandon Flowers, and I'm not saying if Brandon Flowers was still in the game, they would have won.
Yeah.
But they would have stopped Hilton at least once. With a possibility to still win that game.
And speaking of making adjustments and still winning games, we got to get to the KU Jayhawks for just a second. What is going on with our Now, we are both Jayhawk.
We're both Jayhawk
freaks.
Yeah.
Now, I love Bill. I really do love, but he needs to recruit better point guards.
He needs to recruit better point guards, and he needs to start recruiting guys he can coach. He can't coach these guys.
Nadir Thorpe is terrible.
He is probably the worst point guard KU has ever had.
Worse than Jeff Boschee.
Worse than Jeff Boschee.
Well, Jeff Boschee was good. But Nadir Thorpe, last year, he would shoot, go to the hole, all kinds of stuff. Now this year, he don't even want to do nothing.
It's leadership, man. It's leadership. Last year, there was leadership on this team. Yeah. So that gave Thorpe a chance to go out there and do what he can do.
Play his game.
But this year, when Self says, you know what?
This is your team.
It's your team. You're the leader.
oldest player on the team.
He it's like he just shuts down. He don't want to be a leader. He don't want to be the leader of this team.
He don't care.
But he's the oldest player on the team. He doesn't act like it. And he doesn't play like it.
Tarek Black's a senior, but he's a transfer. You can't expect him to come in and know the KU way like everybody else has been there for 2 to 3 years.
And Tarek Black is a football player.
Yeah, he's a tight end.
Yeah,
but
look at how many he start. You can pretty much say this.
He's going to get
first 5 minutes of the game. He's going to get 3 fouls, and he's going to sit out the rest of the first half and play the end of the second half because that's what he does.
And everybody's bagging on Wiggins. Wiggins' game is out in the open court playing transition basketball. That's what Bill Self built this team to do, and teams are forcing us to play half-court basketball.
Right.
And obviously, that's not working.
Well, once again, coming from a KU fan, but you also have to be realistic. You cannot tell me Andrew Wiggins is the number one freshman in the nation.
No, Joel Embiid is.
Right. Well, not in the nation. Not in the nation.
Between him and Parker.
I still give that to Parker.
The reason I give it to Parker over Wiggins because he can shoot. Like Wiggins has not developed the game to be able to beat you from the outside yet.
Wiggins plays ball like this. I'm only here because I have to be.
Exactly. And I don't want to get hurt.
And I don't want.
Right. And I hate to say that because he's a kid, but you got to think about it. You're guaranteed to be a top 3 pick next year. You're gonna be thinking like, "Hey, coach, that's a loose ball right there, coach. I think I'm good."
Right. And Wiggins hasn't showed me as a fan anything where I could say, man, he's the best player in the nation.
I don't think he's the best player on the team.
I don't either. Not right now.
Not right now. I think Embiid's better than he is.
I don't. I put Selden above him too right now.
Selden could be. I think he needs to stay another year though.
And I think he will.
I hope so.
I think he will. I think him and Embiid will both stay another year.
Embiid might be gone.
Well,
he been working with Hakeem Olajuwon. He got the dream shake going, so it could be iffy.
Yeah.
But we need to get Brandon Green on the court. We need to get Connor Frank on the court. Let's see what they can do. We don't know what they can do because they don't play.
Well, I mean, and we could pretty much end the segment by saying this, and I think you'll agree with me, is that if Tharp doesn't step up, Wiggins doesn't step up, you can go ahead and count Oklahoma State as a loss. K-State is a loss. Iowa State is a loss.
That's what I'm worried about.
You could pretty much put us in the NIT because we're not going.
No,
we're not going to March Madness.
No, if Nadir Tharp doesn't show up in the next 3 weeks, season's gonna be over.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure KU fans that are listening to this right now are mad, but
it's the truth.
You have to be realistic. You can't call yourself a fan but not be realistic. You have to be realistic. And
speaking of seasons being over, the Chiefs season came to a tragic end, 45-44, up in Indy. So we're gonna get to what we think the off-season moves could possibly be.
Can I give you my number one?
I think our number one is the same thing.
Yeah.
Why? I'm gonna ask you a question. Why did they let Kendrick Lewis or Dante Robinson back on the plane to Kansas City?
Why did they put him on the bus or train to Indianapolis?
The way they played, they both should have been cut directly after the game with no questions asked.
See, Kendrick Lewis has been beat for the last 3 years every time he's on the field.
Or he's hurt.
If you look at all of Kendrick Lewis' interceptions have all been tip balls.
And then last year, GJ said, well, when Kendrick Lewis comes back, the defense will be better.
No.
He came back and you still won 2 games.
You cut Kendrick Lewis off this team, that makes your team better.
You cut
Dante Robinson off this team, that makes your team better.
And then you go look for a veteran corner, somebody a little bit younger, in late 20s maybe, not 30 something like Dante Robinson.
Right.
Draft you a young guy. Put Cooper in the nickel because obviously he's not ready to play outside yet.
He's not ready.
You got to find somebody that can play for a couple of years.
But you know what though? While I tell you I think he's not ready, you could say the same thing for Brandon Flowers and Sean Smith because they didn't play like they was ready this year either.
Sean Smith, you get roasted.
But this goes back to Emmett Thomas.
Yeah.
You get rid of Emmett Thomas, you get them somebody who can actually teach them how to play defensive back.
Somebody
young.
Champ Bailey is probably going to retire.
And I would go to
I
his
would
doorstep.
walk right to his doorstep and offer him the job.
Exactly. Because those Flowers and Smith are probably, they could be 2 of the best defensive backs in the league.
Yeah.
But it's all about how you're being coached.
And how you're being used.
And
that comes back to Bob Sutton not changing the scheme.
Right.
You got his own corner in Sean Smith. He's 6'2", 210 pounds. That's a safety.
Right. Exactly.
But he can't man cover.
Exactly.
All the time Sean Smith got beat is on what? Man coverage. Routes.
Man coverage. And he needs to get in the weight room because on the line he's getting done every single time.
Every single time because he doesn't have enough quickness.
No.
All right, my number 2 move would be to draft a wide receiver and sign Jeremy Maclin because I think you can get him cheap coming off an ACL injury. He knows Andy Reid's system, and Andy Reid likes those fast guys, the smart guys.
And we need a fast guy.
And he can play the slot, and that'll give them a little chance to throw Dexter around.
Yeah.
And the receiver I'd like them to look at is Jordan Matthews. He's out of Vanderbilt. He's like 6'2", I think, like 200-pound receiver. He's like the all-time lead reception in SEC history at Vanderbilt, mind you. So he's playing the top competition with suspect players. Granted, Vanderbilt's better now. When he first started, they were terrible. And he was still doing his thing.
Well, my one question would be, when you say draft a wide receiver and sign Maclin, it might be draft a wide receiver and sign 2 free agent receivers. Depends. Is Bo gonna play how he played in the preseason or in the postseason game, or is he gonna play like he played during the regular season?
Yeah, because 16
Because
weeks of Bo is terrible.
if he's gonna play like he played in the regular season, then
Cut him too.
right. But Bo proved in the playoffs he could be a good wide receiver, but he has to do that week in and week out.
And I think having somebody like Macklin or another receiver will help take some of that pressure off.
I think so too, and I think Macklin is actually the perfect one because he's fast.
And he take the top off the defense. And
right.
Dwayne Bowe can run underneath routes.
And I mean Donnie Avery, if you really want to be honest, he's fast, man. He just has a problem hanging on to the ball. That's the only problem.
All right, I would add some D-line depth. I think Tyson Jackson was good, but I don't really know how good he's going to be down the line. I thought he started off all right. He fell off towards the end of the season. And find a young pass rusher. Let's be honest. Tom Bailey's getting a little up there in age. So it may be time to find a little young guy to pair with Justin Houston. So for the next 5 years, we'll have a great tandem pass rush team.
Whether or not this young pass rusher that we want to pick up, whether he starts immediately, at this point really doesn't matter.
He probably doesn't need to start.
He probably doesn't need to start. But he does need to be behind a guy like Tom Bailey to
like
learn how to play.
Yeah.
But I think you do that now, while Tamba still got 3 years left, rather than later when he only has a year to do it.
All right, we're gonna go to the last one, the last move of the day. I think we both agreed on this. We re-signed Jeff Schwartz. He's only here in a 1-year deal, but when he went in, the offense went up, rushing went up, pass protection was a lot better, and I would add a little more depth to the O-line, some pieces here and there. Maybe get rid of Asamoah if I can find something.
Maybe.
Or let Schwartz take Asamoah's place.
Yeah.
You know?
Get rid of Asamoah completely.
We got Travis Kelce, but he's an unknown. Maybe in the first round they draft a tight end to help Dwayne Bowe.
They need to draft a tight end.
Because I mean, this tight end draft is loaded.
Yeah.
With 6'5", 230 guys.
I can't remember his name. There's a guy from
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Eric Ebron.
Yeah.
He'd be there. I think Jason Morrow from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
He may be there. Just somebody to help out.
But let's go back to the offensive line. We're talking about Jeff Schwartz. What about Donald Stevenson? Donald Stevenson has played better than Brandon Albert and Eric Fisher. And he's played on both sides.
And I left that one. I didn't put that. I didn't put re-sign Albert.
Right.
At all.
I don't
think
Albert.
they need to. He's gonna want too much money, and you can't franchise him because it's 120% more now.
Right.
And Eric Fisher, he came from the MAC, so people have to understand coming from the MAC is like coming from junior high football to college football.
Exactly.
So he needs time. He'll develop. He has a lot of talent, a lot of upside. So I think he'll be all right.
Let me ask you just one question before we go. Would you have spent your first-round draft pick on Eric Fisher?
At the time of the draft, yes, because that's what they needed. Now, looking back, I would probably take Lane Johnson, the other tackle from Oklahoma, because he's been playing really well for the Philadelphia Eagles since the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. He's gotten a lot better, and he's athletic. So, here and there, I probably would have stuck with Fisher, but Lane Johnson would have been a close second.
If you look at the production of the defense against Fisher, to me, as of right now, he was not worth that number 1 pick.
No.
That's just right now. He could end up being
the
best,
He's 20. I mean, what is he, 21, 22?
I think so.
He coming from the MAC to the NFL. You're still learning.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I got.
That's pretty much it for now, man. As a Chiefs fan, I'm still riding strong with my team, but
hey, y'all can still yell at me on Facebook. Whatever. Y'all know how it is, Chiefs fans. Y'all know how y'all do me. I'm a hater, so it's cool. I'm just going to embrace it. I'm going to stop fighting and trying to be nice, and I'm going to just start going off on them.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, no matter if you're a Chiefs fan or a Titans fan or an Eagles fan, you can't blow no 28-point lead and expect nobody not to say nothing about it. Sorry. As a Chiefs fan, I'm talking about it.
That's just how it goes.
That's right.
Thanks for listening. This is Sports Talk. I'm Cheese.
I'm Dre.
We out.
Peace.
I believe that we can win.